and welcome to Character Dive. I am Tessa. I'm your character diver. Let me explain a little bit of what I do. So, I watch a lot of garbage. I watch pretty much anything. If the characters are super strong. So, my merit of what makes a good movie is, do I like the characters? And so that's what I'll be basing my movie reviews off of is, are the characters strong? Let's take a look at all the characters, see what good they do, see what's not so great about them, and if overall that makes the movie a positive or a negative. Today we'll be talking about Birds of Prey! Fall in love! I'm kind of working backwards here, so we'll start with the villains first and kind of move forward. So the two villains of this movie are Black Mask and Victor Zsasz. I knew about both a little bit. Victor Zsasz from the Arkham Asylum games, and he's like the freak with like tons of like, this is how many people I killed, and he was shirtless and bald, and that's pretty much all I remember about him. I think this was a good adaptation of the character, kind of like, like grounded him a little bit more because he was a person that could talk. But he was still like pretty creepy and pretty nasty. You kind of see him at first as like Black Mask. It looks like his like henchman, but I think they're partners in a way, and Black Mask definitely capitalizes on Victor Zsasz's love of violence, and so he lets him do all the nasty work, and he sits on the side and goes, ew. Black Mask played by Ewan McGregor. I love Ewan McGregor. So that was really great. I think he brought like fun to the character, but he also brought like a deep sinisterness to that character as well. So it really starts like he's this fun, probably gay dude, and he's like, ooh, as Victor Zsasz is doing his nasty stuff. And he owns the club, and he's like all like fabulous and dancing and drinking, and you're like, yeah, this guy's fun. And then he snaps on a dime, and he's like, kill this little girl, and I'm gonna be gross to Harley, and I'm gonna be gross to Black Canary. And there's a scene towards the end of the movie a little bit, more towards the climax of the movie, in his bar or his club, and that's really disturbing, and you can really feel the tension in that scene. So Ewan McGregor did a great job of bringing both to that character. He was fun, but also scary, and so that worked really great for me. Victor Zsasz worked really great for me because he wasn't just this weirdo, he was also really menacing, and I think Victor Zsasz and Black Mask were like on equal levels. I think they were partners. If they wanted to go that route, it's okay they didn't, in all honesty, because they were villains and they were nasty. So, but there was definitely something there. But I think taking these two kind of smaller villains and like at least giving them equal footing to both give them a chance to do something completely on their own, I thought that worked really well. And they're both, they have power over the women in different ways. Black Mask with his money and his status, and Victor Zsasz totally by power and menace and disregard for human life. And so the women in this movie, are challenged by both of those male figures in those ways. And I think it was a nice balance of like two different kind of male opposing figures that women can find familiarity with. Moving on. Cassandra Cain. Cassandra Cain in the comics is way different in this movie. She was raised as an assassin by her parents. They raised her to value action over words, and so she was a mute. It took a long time when she got in the Bat family to sort of become accumulated with normal life and be able to learn speech and be able to learn in general, because she really was just treated like a killing machine, and so she found life and purpose and healing with the Bat family. very dark. I think what they did with her in this movie was great. They even pay homage to the mute thing a little bit in the beginning, where she's just kind of like, and another character goes, "Can you speak?" And she goes, "Yeah." She was a little more of a normal kid in this movie. Grew up on the streets. She was an orphan, and so I thought that was really good. Also, kind of modernizing and putting her in a grounded kind of world. Not so dark, not so serious. She brought a lot of life and fun to the movie, being the kid and just kind of like, you know, looking up to Harley like, "You're so cool, I want to do what you do." And like, I thought it was really cool at the end. All the women kind of came together and were like, this girl needs, you know, well, they don't say it like this, you know, but it's just kind of like the feel you get. But it's like, this girl needs positive role models, this girl needs protecting, this girl's been on her own, and so we're all gonna rise to the challenge and kind of become better people. Harley says it herself. She wants to be a better person because of Cassandra Cain, and so she brings the heart to the movie. She's played by Ella J. Basco. I think she's the niece of Dante Basco, who plays like Prince Zuko and Rufio. So that was like kind of a recognizable name. But yeah, she was great. Next, Dinah Lance, Black Canary, played by Journey Smollett-Bell. I'm not familiar with her, honestly, the actress or Black Canary. What the general trivia tells me is that Black Canary was just a staple DC character for a long time. So long that they were like, it makes no sense for it to be the same person, and so they had a mother and daughter by the same name, same look. Yeah. But that's alright. I did know what Black Canary basically looked like, which was like blonde, fishnets, and would go, "Yeah!" and like scream. And that's what I knew of Black Canary, and so this movie did a lot more for her, I think. They introduced her in a very cool way. It's like, she's a singer at Ewan McGregor's club, and she's framed by these giant statues, and it like just zeroes in on her, and she sings "This Is a Man's World," and the actress actually sang it. And it kind of hints at like, yeah, she's got a powerful voice. And they also hint at family legacy kind of thing. But she's kind of on the fence of who to side with. It's implied that she like is into Ewan McGregor, which can't really fault her for that. So she hangs around him, does his bidding. She becomes his driver, and they kind of, you know, she kind of works with them, but like she has a moral code. She draws the line when everyone starts going after the kid, Cassandra Cain, and so she reaches out to the policewoman, which we'll talk about in a second, and kind of warns her. She's kind of watching out for the kid. They lived in the same apartment building, so she kind of has relatability there with her. She gets it. And she was kind of like, I would say she's the mom friend of the group. She watches out for Harley. She watches out for Cassandra Cain. She and the policewoman, I think, are on like equal level of like maternal authority. But she was great. She was really fun, very pretty. And she gets her own shining moment when she's got to use her powers. So she was super awesome. So the policewoman in question is Renee Montoya, played by Rosie Perez, canonically gay. So that's super great. She was a fun character. It starts right off the bat being like, she likes like cheesy 80s cop stuff, and she like talks like a cheesy cop. She has this great East Coast accent, so she was a real fun character. Still kind of a stereotypical cop a little bit. She has to turn in her badge and her gun, then she goes straight to the bottle, but in the end she has a better moral code than most cops. She's just trying to get the job done, keep the city safe, and so if Black Canary is the mom friend, I think she's the cool aunt friend. Kind of like, you don't want her as a mom, you just kind of want her to like help you out when you get in trouble. Yeah, she was great. She has like a great character arc of like starting out with underestimating Harley Quinn just as the men do, and she ends with apologizing to Harley Quinn. And so that was like a cool, she was great for representing a woman who's in a male, an especially male dominated occupation, and kind of internalized that misogyny. Kind of, you know, she struggles to get out of it. She struggles to work against the current of misogyny, and the film ends with her getting out of it, and she kind of finds her place in the Gotham world. And yeah, she was super neat.
And you're dumb enough to be building a case against him. So, unless we all want to die very unpleasant deaths, we're gonna have to work together.
Sure.
It's time for my favorite. Helena Bertinelli, the Huntress, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You may know her as Ramona Flowers, the chick from Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane. Yeah. She's great. I think she has... It's interesting because she has the most stakes, and as far as the plot, I think she and Harley are on equal levels of participation with the overall plot, but she's in the movie kind of the least. She's always kind of this figure in the shadows, kind of peeking through, moving around in the background until like she gets cannonballed into the group and like immediately kind of just goes, alright, let's do this, and kind of rolls with the punches and joins the group. Yeah, like a lot of people say there should have been more of her. I think they were kind of saving her for probably another movie, because it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. You don't just sideline that talent for nothing. Helena has a lot of character depth already shown kind of through this movie, but it's just like the tip of the surface, I think. Very basic stuff. She was super awesome. She has a great action scene with Harley Quinn. She has a great moment with Cassandra as well, this girl she barely knows. She wasn't really even part of the Cassandra plot, but she puts herself in it because she can see herself in Cassandra. All the women in this movie kind of see themselves in Cassandra in one way or another, and so they have a great bonding moment there. They do kind of highlight the fact that she's the newbie of the group. She's very like awkward and like doesn't quite know how to interact with all of them, and that's partly because of her backstory, partly because she just met these people, and so it works. Like, all of it's great, and like the movie frequently stops to be like, wow, you're cool. And so yeah, I think a lot more is in store for Helena.
You killed his BFF.
What?
You are so cool.
It's time for Harley Quinn, the star of the movie. It's called Birds of Prey. It's not really a Birds of Prey movie, in my opinion, until the end. This is just kind of like Birds of Prey assemble, with Harley Quinn being the forefront woman. I don't even consider Harley to be the leader of the Birds of Prey in this movie. She's kind of, operating on her own terms as a Harley does. But this is really her emotional journey of separating herself from the Joker, becoming her own woman, deciding what she wants to do, and that's the movie. And I think it works really, really well. As someone, as I previously said, wasn't big on Harley, I wasn't dissing on Harley or anything ever. I was just like, this is cool. Don't know enough to have an opinion. This movie really shined in her personality, gave her a lot of heart, gave her a lot of soul, and I'm a Harley fan. Like, bottom line, I think Margot Robbie really brought it. Margot Robbie really understands this character, really advocating for her to get her justice. And, like, to be honest, like, I didn't even see Margot Robbie when I was watching this movie. I just saw Harley Quinn. She really embodies that character very, very strongly. Her looks in this movie are great. My favorite is the bar scene in the beginning where she's just going around the party and getting really drunk. She has the bedazzled eyebrow. She's like dancing on the strip pole, but like kind of like not elegantly. She's destroying men and like just drinking and just trying to forget everything. That's a really great look. That's one of my favorites. This one's a great look. One thing they added to this movie that I really liked was the roller derby. She's on a roller derby team, and it kind of shows her fighting style in the beginning, and then it circles back at the end, and I think that's really great. Really strong there. Her heart is with the kid, Cassandra Cain. Their relationship is like the heart of the movie, and that's where Harley kind of goes from just this wild, kooky character as like someone with a purpose, and so that was really great to see. You definitely still get like the crazy Harley. She adopts that hyena. There's a sequence where she gets hit in the head too hard and just kind of spazes out for a few minutes. So there's definitely still that, like, you know, like, this is Harley Quinn and she's crazy. She is the narrator of the movie, so she kind of goes very briefly into her backstory, not super detailed. It was just kind of a brief, here it is. That's kind of it. Let's move on to the current, which I think works really, really well because we're all kind of sick of origin stories at this point, so keeping it flat to the point. Everyone does get a little bit of a spotlight of their origin story. Helena, I'd say, has the most, but again, it's all very brief and just enough to give you, like, this is who this person is, and then lets their actions in the current movie, you know, kind of let you see for yourself who they are, which I think works great because, like, no one is the same from when they're a child, or, you know, even like a few years ago. People change, people grow, people evolve, and so I think it works really well to keep the movie grounded and focused by having just a little bit of backstory, focus on what they're doing now, and not like plummeting you with information. The thing with Harley being a narrator is that it kind of gets jumbled up at one point, and only at one point. And it's very confusing for a couple minutes. Basically, we're going with Harley for like a day-by-day kind of timeline, and then it jumps to Renee Montoya, kind of jumps to Black Canary, kind of jumps to Cassandra Cain, and Harley, in the meantime, was jumping around and doing other stuff and meeting everybody at one point. The Cassandra Cain plot point. To put it simply, everything kind of comes together at this moment of, like, Cassandra Cain is the plot. And it's a little disorienting only because we had been following Harley Quinn sequentially, and then all of a sudden she makes this jump without us being along with her, and then we have to go back and find out what she was doing while we were focusing on Renee and Black Canary. I don't think that quite works. There's this great action scene with Harley, and the start of it, I was really distracted because I was trying to figure out what the heck happened. She had changed her clothes, all the, you know, like, why is she there all of a sudden? Maybe that was just me. It was only for a couple minutes that I was disoriented, then I was back on board. But that's, like, the only part that was, like, not sequential, that, like, or as far as Harley goes. We do jump around as we focus on the other characters, but as far as Harley is concerned, she's mostly sequential, and so that's why I didn't particularly like that we had that one jump. Otherwise, yeah. And she's a little bit of an unreliable narrator, but the movie does the great thing of like showing you what's true, creating that, you know, disbalance right from the get-go. Like, I broke up with the Joker versus Harley sobbing her eyes out. So all in all, it's safe to say I loved pretty much every character in this movie. I think it worked really well, even though it was a Birds of Prey assemble movie and everyone kind of had their own individual moment only to come together at the end. I think it was still a really strong movie and more believable for a team that is just getting together, that we don't really, you know, have an idea of yet at all, because this is our introduction to all of them. So it's only fair to like have it kind of individualized and have them all kind of meet together. I really liked the relationship between Black Canary and Huntress. I think that should be more of a thing. I think Huntress is kind of an awkward dad to the group if Black Canary is our mom friend. So that would be cool to see more of them. The soundtrack I've been listening to like nonstop. It's just poppin'. It's lots of fun. This movie really embraces like we're gonna be a fun, colorful comic book movie, which DC has been doing better of in the recent past. And so I think this really works for Birds of Prey. As far as female superhero movies go, I'd probably put this at the top, honestly. Like, above Wonder Woman, above Captain Marvel. I think it was just really fun. It wasn't, you know, it didn't, like, it was serious, but, like, it was like, we're gonna entertain you and we're gonna have fun. Ladies like to have fun too. So yeah, I would put this right at the top. I think, like, the messages of women finding power, empowering women, were not as obvious, but like it was done tastefully here, and like it's not quite what you expect, because they're all kind of villains essentially, and like it was nice to be like, you know, just keep it up, and like it was fun to just like see something different for a change and not quite a perfect look. You know, we have Renee, who maybe, you know, just finds a completely different path than what you would expect her to do. And so it was really like, if you're stuck in a space that's like male dominated and it's not like welcoming you, not necessarily male dominated, but like potentially most likely, but if you're stuck in that space and you're not getting anywhere and you're not getting fulfillment, make your own space. And that was really cool and really empowering, honestly. Like, yeah, I think it was just a lot of fun and really great and not what we've seen in the past. Yeah, that's Birds of Prey. I loved all the characters, and so I loved the movie. But what did you guys think? Shoot me a comment. Let's talk about movies. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye, divers.